What's up, you bushy-tailed little unicorn? Welcome to the video, and today you and I are talking about fat loss, specifically how to lose fat without counting calories. It's a really big topic, especially because I'm in the middle of my 90-day fat loss challenge, and I've been getting a lot of people asking if I'm counting calories, how many calories I'm eating, and if I'm not counting calories, how do you do it without actually counting them? It's a really good question, and I want to go in depth with you on that today. And what I've done is I've broken it down into 3 phases to get to the point in which you're at the final phase, which is Dumbledore status. So phase 1, year 1 at Hogwarts, you're a fresh new wizard or witch, you're here, you don't know what to do. You don't know the spells, you don't know what charms or magic to do, you don't know how to do them. You know you have the magic in you, you just don't know how to use it, and that's what you're gonna learn in this first year at Hogwarts. The second phase, year 7 at Hogwarts. Now you're graduating. You're a witch, you're a wizard, you have all the magic, you know all the spells, you don't have real life experience, but you're gonna go in, you're gonna practically apply it now with everything you've learned in school, and eventually, if you give it the time, and you give it the patience, and you give it the practice that it deserves, you too could reach Dumbledore status, and that's what we're gonna talk about in this video. But first, we're doing a giveaway for 3 people, 3 of you, to win a free month in the inner circle. If you don't remember, Rico and I did a video on weight fluctuation patterns. If you haven't seen it yet, you can watch it right here. Weight fluctuation patterns. Basically, if you're trying to lose fat and your weight isn't going down like you think it should, if you're eating well but it keeps fluctuating up, you don't know why, I outlined the 3 most common fluctuation patterns and what they might be for you. So in that video, we said if we get 300 likes on this video, then we're gonna do another giveaway. And so it got way more than that. And so today we're gonna do another giveaway. If this video gets 500 likes, again, if this video gets 500, then we're gonna do a giveaway in which 3 people will get a free month in the inner circle. If you don't know what the inner circle is, I'm not gonna go into it now, but the link in my bio will fully explain exactly what it is. And if you want to win, if you want the opportunity to win that free month and this gets 500 likes, you have to go in the comment section and you have to tell me if you would like Rico and I to do a video on essentially how to calculate how many calories you should be eating. This video, as we spoke about, is about how to lose fat without counting calories. But if you want to learn how many calories you need to eat for your specific body, tell us in the comments section what you would like us to do if that's something you're interested in. And then between the 500 likes and that will be how you're entered into this competition. All right, back to the scheduled programming. We are going to start with year 1 at Hogwarts on your quest to learning how to lose fat without counting calories. Now, here's the deal. You are a smart, intelligent, brand new witch or wizard at Hogwarts, and you have so much potential. You've got all the magic inside of you. You've got the ability to do the spells. You've got the ability to do the charms. You've got the ability to make the potions. You just don't have the skill yet. You haven't developed the skill to do it, to conjure up all of this magic that's just sitting inside of you to be able to do it. And I'm going to show you exactly how to harness all of that magic to then allow you to lose fat without counting calories. Now, I'm gonna be a little bit like Professor Snape, and not like at the end of the 7th book when we're like, oh my God, Snape is really amazing. I'm gonna be like year 1 Snape, that none of the students like except the Slytherins, that none of the students like because he's mean to Harry, he's sort of an asshole, he's very like strict and whatever. I'm gonna tell you something that maybe Snape would have told you that you wouldn't have liked. But by the end of year 7, and you realize Snape was actually really good, you're like, you know what, maybe Snape had a point. Maybe Snape was good all along, which he was. I'm gonna tell you that in order to get to a point in which you can reach Dumbledore status, in which you can lose fat without counting calories, you first must learn how to count calories. I know it's not fun. I know there are people watching. There are witches and wizards around the world watching right now saying, fuck you, Snape. I don't want to count calories. And I can tell you, you little shit, I'll put you in detention. I'm just kidding, I'm not gonna put you in detention. But I am telling you this, if you decide not to watch this video because I don't wanna count calories, then you're only delaying your potential to succeed. And the reality is, I wanna talk about intuitive eating for a second. A lot of people will say, you don't need to count calories. You should just intuitive eat. You should just eat how you feel, listen to your body. But the thing about that is, and I agree, that's actually part of what Dumbledore status entails. But the people who say that, they've usually counted calories for years. A lot of them were figure competitors, bodybuilders, people who've counted calories. They did it to a point in which they did it obsessively, and then they were like, we shouldn't have to count calories, let's eat intuitively. But they could only eat intuitively once they learned how much they were actually eating. And you might be wondering, well, Jordan, how come I can't just do intuitive eating? I see people talking about intuitive eating all over Instagram. There are so many Instagrammers, intuitive eating. Why can't I do that? And I'm telling you, you smart little witch or wizard, you can, but that is part of Dumbledore status. A lot of these people telling you that you should just do intuitive eating, that you shouldn't be calorie counting, are coming from a place of having calorie counted. They've developed that skill. They did it for a long time, and then they learned how to intuitive eat, where they say, well, no, I don't count calories anymore. But even if they're not, they could look at a plate of food and know how many calories are in it because they developed the skill. Now, a lot of people will say, you don't need to calorie count, you shouldn't calorie count, you should only intuitive eat because that's what humans have done forever. We are humans, we've always intuitive ate, there was a period of time we didn't even know what calories were, so we shouldn't intuitive eat. Under that logic, it's the same fallacy of saying, well, yes, listen, we're humans. We know how to run. It's in our DNA. We can run. Why? You don't need to learn the skill of running. It's like, that's fucking stupid. Why, if you didn't need to learn the skill of running, are there entire businesses built around the performance enhancement of runners, teaching them the skills of running? People ruin their bodies running the wrong way. They ruin their ankles, their knees, their hips, their back. Yes, they can run, and you can run if you want to, but you might end up running in a really shitty way. You might end up hurting yourself. Why not run as efficiently as possible? Why not learn how to run in a way that will help you run faster, longer, stay pain-free? It's the same thing with eating. Yeah, you could just eat, or you could learn how to eat to achieve your goal faster, to lose more body fat, to build more muscle, to have more energy, and that starts with calorie counting. You don't have to do it forever, but learning how to calorie count now, in your first year at Hogwarts, will help you reach your goal more quickly and get to Dumbledore status where you no longer have to count calories. Now you might be wondering, Jordan, okay, fine, I'll count calories just because you said so and you made a really good argument about Professor Snape, may he rest in peace. Now, how many calories, Jordan, should I be eating? And it's a tremendous question. It's a very long, detailed answer, and if you want me to make a video on that, what I need you to do is go in the comments and tell me, Jordan, I want you to make that video so I can learn how to count or how many calories I need to be eating for my individual body. Tell me in the comment section, and if I get enough of those, then I'll make that video very soon. In which case, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified when that video comes out. Odds are, I'm gonna make that video no matter what. So subscribe and hit the bell. Anyway, year one, count your calories. And keeping in mind, even if you don't know in this moment how many calories you should be eating, you can still count. You can still go on MyFitnessPal. My buddy Mike Vacanti has Mike's Macros app. There's many options for you to start tracking. Because if you've never done it before, learning how to count and to track is a skill in and of itself. And odds are, once you actually start tracking and counting, you're gonna start seeing progress. Not because tracking and counting is magical, or maybe it is, but because when you start actually writing down what you're eating and how much amounts, you're gonna start eating better. You're gonna be like, holy shit, I didn't realize I was eating all that treacle tart or pumpkin pasties or chocolate frogs. You don't even realize it. And then once you do, then all of a sudden you're gonna be like, wow, I've been eating all of these rock cakes from Hagrid. even though they're not that good. They're very calorie dense. That's why Hagrid's so fucking huge. Anyway, year 1 at Hogwarts, count calories. Year 7 at Hogwarts, what now? Now we have skill development. So we've acquired the skill of calorie counting. Now we have skill development. Now this is a really interesting part because once you've counted calories for a while, maybe it's a month, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 5 years, once you've gotten to a point in which you have the skill, now you can develop the skill a little bit further. And this is where I go into what I call my 3-plate, 2-snack rule. Okay, now how many plates and how many snacks will change wizard to wizard, witch to witch. It's not gonna be the same for each person, but I like the 3-plate, 2-snack rule because it's a good starting point. Bigger witches and wizards might have more. Smaller witches and wizards might have fewer. Either way, I don't know if I used the word fewer in the right. It might have should have been less. I'm not sure. I'm not a grammar expert, but either way, 3 plates, 2 snacks. And what that means is every day you'll have 3 plates, 3 meals. Each meal fits on 1 plate and you'll have 2 snacks. Each snack fits in the palm of your hand. I like this to do after you've counted calories because a lot of times once people have counted calories for a while, it can start to be a little bit obsessive. They start thinking about it too much. And before they transfer into intuitive eating, there has to be something to bridge the gap. Before you can just go from not calorie counting or from calorie counting to not calorie counting at all, we still want a little bit of structure to know that we're not gonna overdo it, to know that we're not gonna eat too much. And this is that perfect way to bridge that gap so that you can sort of go back and forth between these two. For example, once people have been calorie counting for, call it 3 months, and they're like, well, now I wanna start intuitive eating. Instead of just going straight from always calorie counting to not calorie counting, why don't you do calorie counting and then maybe a couple days a week, the 3 plates, 2 snack rules. Because a lot of times it can be nerve-wracking to go from calorie counting to not at all. And especially if you're a coach watching this, you know the best way to make changes is by small incremental steps. So rather than just being like, cool, we're gonna go from this all the way to this, why don't we do this? And then slowly a couple days a week, have something less structured from a numbers perspective, but you still have that support, you still have that guideline to follow so that you're not gonna overdo it. Because that's where people are like, if I'm not counting, how do I know how much I'm eating? And you might not know exactly how much you're having here because you're not actually tracking, but you're inherently limiting yourself to how many you could potentially eat by making sure you have this structure there. Not to mention, when you're doing this and you have 3 plates and 2 snacks, number 1, you'll have learned already how many calories are in certain foods. So even if you're not actually tracking them over here, in your head, you're still like, okay, well, I had this and I know this is a little bit higher calorie, so maybe I should have a little bit of a smaller plate for dinner, right? This is how now you're developing the skill that you've already acquired. And then you can slowly start to develop the skill of intuitive eating without feeling like you're completely screwing everything up. And that's really where the magic in all of this lies. Where people get so sucked into this that they're then too scared to try this. Or they never try this at all. They jump straight to this and have no idea how much or what they should actually be eating. Because when you're told just to listen to your body without ever having gone through trial and error of being able to identify what your body actually wants and needs, you're fighting blind. So once you've done year 7 at Hogwarts and you've developed the skill to eat without actually tracking, that's when we can now go to Dumbledore status. This is where you can start to eat intuitively, where you can lose fat without actually tracking all of your numbers. Now, this is where I am right now. This is where, if you're following my 90-day fat loss challenge, you're gonna see that I'm not actually tracking my calories. If you've been following my weight trend chart, you've seen my weight's been dropping steadily. If you look at my progress pictures, you've seen I've clearly gotten leaner over the last month or so. And I've done this without tracking my calories, without calculating the numbers, not because I randomly am able to just intuitively eat, but because I did this for years. And then I did this, and now I'm here, but sometimes I still go back to this. I still go back to skill acquisition, maybe for a week or 2 weeks or a month. because maybe I'm not eating as much as I think I'm eating, or maybe I'm eating more than I think I'm eating, right? That's how this works. Like, if you don't do something for a certain amount of time, you don't necessarily pay attention to it as much. So just because you get to Dumbledore status doesn't mean that you can't go back to year one and practice and read the books again and practice the spells again and the charms again, read your class notes again. That's how we keep our skills and always develop. And so what you'll probably see me do over the course of this 90-day challenge, by the way, if you're not following this challenge, make sure you subscribe to the channel, you get the bell, you hit the bell to get notified when you give an update. You will see that eventually, not right now because it's still working, I'm not gonna fix it because it's not broken, there will come a point in time in which I'm going to need to go back to this, in which I will need to be more meticulous and track this depending on how lean I want to get. I mean, I'm at a point right now where like, I'm happy with where I am. I'm not satisfied. I want to get leaner, and maybe I'll get to 10% body fat, 9%, and I'll say, I wanna get to 7. And if I wanna get to 7, I'll need to do this. But maybe I'll get to 12% body fat, I'll be like, I'm good. In which case I won't need to do this, because based on how I feel in that moment, I'm fine. So it's always based on what you want and what you need. But if you want to get to this at all, forget fat loss. Let's just talk about life. If you just want to get to a point in which you can intuitively eat to maintain your weight, to be healthy and happy, not to necessarily focus on fat loss, but just for intuitive eating's sake, as a healthy individual, with a healthy mindset around food, where food doesn't control your life, you have to start here. This has to be the skill that you build up first. Because without this skill, you can never reach a point in which it's an unconscious process. And that is where the power lies, is where the magic lies. That's why Dumbledore is such a fucking badass motherfucker, because he doesn't need to count his calories anymore, but he did when he was in school. That's how he started. Voldemort too. Voldemort counted calories. And most people don't know this. Voldemort counted calories. Voldemort, very powerful wizard, counted. That's one of the ways he achieved his level of greatness. And even though he did some really terrible things, they were pretty great in terms of how powerful they were. And if you want to reach that level of power, start here. You don't have to use it for bad like Voldemort. You can use it for good like Dumbledore. But you got to start somewhere. And that starts at year one. Now, before I send you on the Hogwarts Express and say goodbye, if you'd like me to make the video explaining how to understand how many calories you need to eat in order to lose fat, how to calculate your calories, comment below, say you want it, and then realistically, I'm gonna make it anyway. But just do me a favor, hit the like button, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, give me a comment, say something if you liked the video, if you didn't like the video, if you think I'm a jackass, if you think I'm funny, if this was helpful, if it wasn't helpful, what you want to learn. I want to say thank you for Rico for filming and editing this whole thing. Got this whole big setup now in the apartment, which is pretty cool. Anyway, leave us a note. We love you. Thank you so much. Also, hit the bell. There's a little bell thing to get notified when the next video comes out. Talk to you soon.